if you think about like Elon Musk, it's like, okay, people say, I want to be an entrepreneur. Okay, what's an entrepreneur, right? Everyone's like, it's a business owner. To me, a true entrepreneur is someone that's a disruptor. They created something, they built a business, like they created a category, like an Elon or a Sam Walton, all these different types of people that created, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. They're category creators. They're entrepreneurial. They're visionaries. They see what's going to happen in society. Franchising, you don't have to be that. You don't have to be like 1 to 3% of the global population, to be successful.
Hey there, and welcome to Money and You. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host. My search for more fulfilling work led me to career and business coaching, where I stumbled upon a game-changing discovery. Money issues often start with our mindset and habits. You see, our relationship with money is the key to overcoming those frustrating financial obstacles. As an entrepreneur, coach, and problem solver, I'm passionate about helping you create a great relationship with money. Because, turns out, that's the foundation for a limit-free life. Each week on Money and You, I speak with amazing guests about all things money, mindset, practical tips, and everything in between. We're here to give you new insights, education, and empowerment so money can be one of your favorite relationships. So join us for some lively conversations and let's transform your financial life together. Hello, and welcome to the Money and You Show. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host, and super excited to have another great guest on today. On today's show, we are going to talk about something new and different. We haven't talked about this much on the show, and it is a great opportunity for people listening to learn about franchising and other related business opportunities. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce a very remarkable guest that we have today. His name is Cliff Nonnenmacher, and he began his career as an investment banker at Morgan Stanley. After leaving his Wall Street career in 2003, he acquired a master franchise for New York and Connecticut, diving headfirst into the franchising industry. Since then, Cliff has owned and operated various franchise businesses, including Cartridge World, Personal Training Institute, Pure Clean, and Made Right, as well as non-franchise companies. He's also developed well-known domestic and international brands like Four Seasons Sunrooms, Contours Express, Island Thin Pokey, and Krak Boba. With over 25 years of experience in franchising, finance, and business, Cliff has been involved in every aspect of the franchisor-franchisee relationship. Cliff now uses his extensive knowledge to assist corporate executives in building generational wealth, diversifying their investment portfolios, and navigating career transitions through franchise ownership. Cliff, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. We had a really great conversation before we started this today. And I loved your passion for what you do. And I'm really interested in the franchise model. I think having been in the corporate world and then also been an entrepreneur, with the business that I started myself, there's something really unique and special about franchising. If you're a business owner who can create a business that can be franchised, that's one aspect of it that's great. But also for people who want their own business, but don't really want to go through all that startup, craziness, which it kind of is. I think this is a great option. And I want you to give us a little more insight into how you got into it, and then I'll come back I have a million questions. So
yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been self-employed pretty much my whole life. Even as an investment banker, you're not really getting paid, right? You have to go out there and dial and gather assets and make a living and allocate those assets, right? So
right.
I pretty much feel like I've been self-employed most of my life. I started very young, like 8. Raking golf balls out of ponds at country clubs, cleaning the balls and selling them, and doing everything you could do as a young entrepreneur, raking leaves, shoveling snow, and just selling things, right? Doing things and reselling.
I stop you there for 1 second because so much of this show, I love to talk about people's relationship with money and their mindset around money. So what was going on that at 8, you decided you could have just been doing anything at 8. So why did this happen?
we wrote a book and it's called Beyond the Brand. It's over my shoulder. And that's actually the opening paragraph is most kids are playing at the time. I was, grew up in the 80s. So most people were playing. And I was always thinking about how could I make money? I don't know. It was just a prevailing thought for me. I think it really did. My mom ingrained in us and my father, hustle, 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 provide. You have to work. So a lot of it came, I think, just through upbringing. My dad was very entrepreneurial, always trying to do something, even though he was a detective in New York, he was always trying to do something on the side, something entrepreneurial. My dad actually had, I've actually never said this on a podcast before. My dad had a billion with a B dollar idea in our garage in New York in the 1980s. My father was an auto theft detective and he was messing around with little numbers and letters with a sandblasting compressor. And I'm like, what are those? And he goes, I'm going to sandblast the VIN numbers on the parts of the car so that people won't want to steal it because now it has a serial number in there. I don't think I need to tell the audience how that aged well for someone, not us, but that was the kind of guy he was. He was always thinking, always tinkering, always wanting more, always wanted to provide more for his family. Phenomenal dad. I had great parents. I grew up we were not affluent. I grew up in an affluent neighborhood. We were middle-class people that grew up in a very nice neighborhood. I walked to the country club. That's where I raked the golf balls. So my relationship with money, I had a very risk-taking dad and I had an ultra-conservative mom, very conservative. Like you never compromise the house, right? You never leverage too much. You pay cash, you don't borrow, like that type of. So my relationship with money was, very different. At a young age, I didn't listen to anyone anyway. I did my own thing. So to me, wealth was freedom, wealth was independence. Money provided a lot of solutions to a lot of problems, and I wanted it, at a very young age. And fast forward, I'm 53 now. I've done well for myself in terms of my goals. But yeah, I agree with everything you said at your opening statement. And I always see people that make fun of, let's say, wealthy people, or they'll insult the rich. And I'll be like, you do realize, just saying that and putting that out in the universe, you will never be wealthy. Like you cannot speak negatively about wealth, wealthy people, wealthy things. You can't do that. It's the law of attraction,
Yeah.
right? It's a universal law. Like you have to embrace if you want to create wealth, you have to embrace things that are wealthy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And
Yeah.
fall
And
through
I'm
things.
so thrilled that you said that. And, it's not like because we all have a tendency once in a while to do that, and it's so interesting to me because you put it so well. And people at the same time that they're talking about how, horrible people with money are out there trying their hardest to make their own money and build their own wealth. And so there's this complete disconnect, really, because it's never the money, it's the person with the money. So there are, in fact, bad people with money who do bad things, and there are also good people with money who do good things, and it's not about the money, it's about who you are. And yeah, I really do love that you said that, though, because it's almost like a repellent. It's almost like as you're saying these things, you might as well just be like spraying money repellent. Yeah.
That's exactly this. It's what you think about, you bring about. And that's that mindset. If you're going to think about negativity and you're going to think about money is nothing but trouble, it causes problems in the family, the blah, 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 it doesn't change your life. You don't need it. I want to be, this, I want to be that. And if you just keep saying that about money, you're never going to have it.
Right.
It needs to be, I don't walk over pennies. I have a relationship with money. And my son, who's 17, almost 17, he's always laughing at me. I pick up pennies. I pick up loose change. My relationship with it is I respect it. I'm not obsessed with it.
Right.
I respect it. I would never walk over it. Nothing is too good for me. A penny on the street, I pick it up. I do my mantra, right? I do my normal shtick when I pick it up and put it in my pocket, and off I go. So that's kind of my relationship with it. So
I love that.
I do like the theme of the show. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I really am. I mean, we're going to move on from this and talk about franchising, but since we're here, this is my favorite topic, and it's so individual. I really love that you embrace your little ritual, you know. I mean, and that's all you need to do. And whatever it is for you, it doesn't, you know, it can be pennies. It can, you know, I know people who like clean out their wallet because it's, you know, it's open to receiving instead of stuffed with old
Right.
receipts or whatever. And
Right.
all of this is, it doesn't really matter what the ritual is or what the affirmation is. If it's meaningful to you, it's reinforcing this idea of you and money having this relationship that's good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And how did you kind of get some enlightenment around this? Because obviously you've done your homework.
It's good. I'm a I mean, it's a crazy story, but a long story short. So I was in the Buffalo airport. This is pre-housing crisis, and I just kept making eye contact with this person in the terminal, and she ended up approaching me and handing me a video, which was The Secret, just saying like this. She said something about I could feel your energy, and she said this can change your life. In a crazy turn of events, I believe that this woman I met in the airport is the good nurse. If you ever watched the Netflix series, I believe that was her.
Wow.
And if you don't know what the good nurse is, it was a movie about a nurse who is a whistleblower on another nurse who is injecting, let's say, poison into IV bags and randomly killing people in hospitals. But the genius behind this sinister act was this particular nurse. What do you do when someone dies in the floor? Who was working that day?
Mm.
He would randomly inject into these IV bags so that it was when he was on shift, off shift, there's no way of saying, well, he was on shift every time this happened. And she was the whistleblower. It was on Netflix. It was called The Good Nurse. And I believe that the woman I met in the airport was the whistleblower, the good nurse. And I believe that that was the woman that actually helped change my life. And of course, she did it again by catching this character. Crazy story. I've never shared it before, but that you asked me and I answered it.
A great story. Thank you. Yeah. Isn't it interesting, these little moments? And, you know, we have to be aware of the opportunities that come to us and the synchronicities and you know, the fact that you even took the CD. You know, you could have been like, you know.
Oh, it was a weird exchange.
Yeah, yeah.
It was different for sure. It's not your normal exchange. No, I took it very seriously. I don't think life is so random. You know, I was adopted at a young age, and I think that people are brought together for a reason. So no, I don't think life is so random. I believe in synchronization. I believe in thoughts become things. I believe in the law of attraction. I believe in a lot of things that have reinforced, you know, my thinking, my way of life, how I treat people, how I'm treated by others. You know, I used to have a boomerang. Here's an example. I used to have a boomerang in my office, like in my credenza above my head, and people would always go, "What is that?" And I would look back and I'd be like, "Oh, life is like a boomerang. What you put out there comes back with lethal accuracy. So if you want to put hate out in there, it's going to come back. You want to put pain, you want to put good feelings, good vibes, you want to help people become rich, it becomes way easier to become wealthy yourself. I mean, it's like rule number one if you want to be wealthy, you have to help others become wealthy too. Simple.
Yeah. I love that. It's simple, but in some ways it goes against a lot of what people think and what you see out there or hear out there. So
That's why most people are rich.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly, exactly.
They
And
got
honestly,
catastrophic thinking.
yeah. And I don't know what's happening in the universe, but the guests who are coming on the show, more often than not, I think most of the time, have this same kind of thought process and are doing very, very well and creating all kinds of success. So this isn't like, you know, for yoga teachers and people, I mean it is, but it's not like kind of ideas that are separate from just the regular society and, you know, all kinds of people. So I think it's great. I think it's great to get this message out there and allow other people to tune in and think about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's travel back to franchising and some of your thoughts about that. So this obviously is also a love of yours. So how and why?
To me, franchising is one of the single greatest methodologies ever created to create wealth without inventing anything. There is no methodology more powerful than
Really?
franchising. Do you have a desire to be successful? Yes. Can you follow a proven system? Yes. Can you like lead people? Can do people believe in you? Do you have a vision for what you want to do with your small little company on Main Street? Yes. That's like, okay. People always ask me all the time. It's like, what does it take to become a franchisee? And I took this from Jack Welch. I call it the 4E 1P principle. Do you have energy? Yes. Can you energize others? Yes. Right? Can you execute the model? Yes. Right? It's like all these different things. Are you passionate? And it's just, are you edgy? Can you actually fire and hire? Can you make, there's very difficult decisions in business, and a lot of people keep dead wood in their business. So like franchising really is for everyone, especially if you resemble the remarks I made about the 4E 1P principle, which is what people want. People want to work for leaders. They don't want to work for losers. They want to work for people that are going to lead them and have energy and have a vision. And you see an upside, like I could get promoted, I could grow. They're opening a third location. Like this person is serious. They want to grow. I want to work with them. So yeah, I love franchising. I got involved in it. I was an investment banker, and I was managing a ton of money with at the time Smith Barney, and I ended up going to Barnes and Noble. I bought a franchise handbook and found a printer consumable company in Australia that reverse engineered the inks and toners and secret handshake chips, and I ended up buying the rights. Didn't buy the company. I bought the rights for the state of New York and Connecticut, and I scaled 36 locations and then sold it, moved to Florida where I am now. That was my introduction to franchising, and it was called master franchising, which is one level beneath the franchisor. It's where you buy a state or a massive territory, and I have the right to sell you a franchise and collect fees from you and royalties and so on. So it's very different from being a franchisee, and it's called the master. So it's just, there are levels to franchising, but that's actually how I entered. And then from there, owned various franchises, and then worked for private equity firms that bought franchises and then continued to scale brands. I've been doing this for the last 25 years.
Wow, that's very interesting. I've actually never heard that term, the master of franchise, or what was it again?
Yeah, master franchising.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, very interesting. So there are a lot of opportunities people probably don't even know about in franchising. I mean, I think we think
definitely.
basic, I'll buy a McDonald's, and if I do well, I'll buy, 2 and then 3. And somehow there's this magic number out there that if you have 3 franchises, suddenly you turn the corner and become profitable. I mean, what are the myths out there, and what are the truths?
That's interesting you say that, because a lot of times I explain to people, like, everyone wanted to buy a Subway, and it's like, well, you can't own one. They're like, why not? Because it doesn't make any money, right? And people are like, well, why would I want to buy more of something that doesn't make any money? The folks who were purchasing a Subway love Subway for various reasons. One of them being they just have to open up the door and people would walk in. Not a lot of people. The stores only do like $350, $400 a year. Like, this is nothing to get excited about, Subway, but people get excited about certain brands. And a lot of times people get more excited about the product than they do the operations of the business. And that's a huge mistake to me. I don't really, right? I have to fall in love with the operations of the business, the leadership team, right? Where they're going, product development, pricing, competitiveness in the market. People just fall in love with the pizza, and it's like, I'm going to own this. Or people fall in love with Chick-fil-A and they want to own it. And then they figure out, and that goes to show you that there's no discipline in investing, because half of America, and probably more than half of the people listening, don't even know that you can't and will never own a Chick-fil-A. You cannot own one. You're nothing more than an overpaid employee. And that shows you that people really don't know, like, investment opportunities, because everybody wants to buy a Chick-fil-A until they're told all Chick-fil-A's are owned by Chick-fil-A corporate, all of them. So when you hear people say they're an owner, they shouldn't even be using the word franchisee. They should not be using the word owner. They're an employee. They're an operator, period. Now, are they making good money? Yes. But they're never going to participate on the exit of that business. Right? So we work with investors and say, okay, like, Cliff, who are you? What do you do? How do you help my audience? Right? It's like we help them It's like what one of your listeners is like, I'm so sick of corporate America, I got to get out.
Right.
Great. So they would call me, 15, 20-minute consult. What's going on, right? Tell me what's happening in your life. I'm 45 years old, net worth of $500,000. I have 100 liquid. I need to replace 120,000 a year. My spouse is working, 2 kids. I can't do this anymore. I want to go out on my own. We will then work with them and formulate investment objectives. We do this for free, by the way. We do it for free. Yes. Nobody believes it. So I do say it twice. And I understand the word has been destroyed. It's been abused, right? It's been so abused. We work for the buyer for free. We are paid like headhunters or realtors, which means we're paid by the seller or paid by the other party. Okay. All right. So we work for the buyer, your listener, for free. And we'll work for them for the life of the relationship. There's no scenario where they pay for us ever. Everything we do is free. Wow. Again, we're paid by the seller. Yes. Again, instead of showing them houses, we show them businesses. Same concept of.
Yeah. And actually, you're making me think. I guess I did say the name of your company in the bio. Yeah. But do we have that under your name?
Yeah, I believe, yes, he put Phrenosity. Turn up Phrenosity under my name.
Okay.
Yeah, the company's phrenosity.com.
Okay.
And people could schedule a consult and we could walk them through their options. Like, what does it take? What do I need? Do I have to have background experience? I want to own a roofing company. Do I need to be a roofer? No. You could own a roofing franchise and never step foot on a roof. Like, a lot of people don't understand that about franchise, and they feel like they're buying a job and they need direct industry experience. Absolutely not. I've owned 12 brands. I knew nothing about any of them. Nothing.
That is really fascinating. And there are a lot of franchises. I get a newsletter from a franchise broker who I met a long time ago, and the franchises out there will surprise you. We all think of Subway and, Chick-fil-A or McDonald's. I didn't know that about Chick-fil-A though. But there are many, many service-oriented franchise businesses and things like roofing, like you just said. I would never think of that. And I think most people wouldn't. And so it's a pretty vast array of opportunities for people. I also loved what you said about liking the product, because the one time I got serious looking at a franchise, I had gone to a party and somebody had one of those nothing bundt cakes, and I just thought, oh my gosh, this is the greatest idea. So I kind of went down the road for a little while looking at that, but the buy-in fee was high, and the more I looked at it, the more I agree with you, but it is interesting because it really is a business. So it'd be nice. It is nice to like what you're having interest.
Totally.
Feel even with something like roofing, if you're just a person who knows that's valuable and you feel like you're offering a service that you believe is valuable, that in itself is probably good enough. But you do have to have some connection, I think.
Agreed. I would say over all the years of doing this, I try and get a degree of capitalism from the client. And over the years, what I've learned, it is about 70-30. It's 70% I need to make money, and only 30% I need to love it. I need to love it. So it's like, okay, like, is your ego in the way? Would you own a porta potty business? Some are like, absolutely not. I'm not going to a cocktail party telling people that I'm in the porta potty business. And then there's a whole other camp of capitalists that are like, if it makes money and I'm laughing all the way to the bank, I will own a porta potty business. I have no ego. I'm here to make money. Yeah. So we determine ego. Ego plays a huge role in everything. Probably one of the most misunderstood and under-discussed topics, right? Fear, ego, identification with the ego, the reason why people don't do things. So we want to understand the client's position on that. And then the spouse. A lot of times the client's like, I'll do it. And the spouse is like, absolutely not. You will not be in the porta potty business. Do something with more panache than that. So it just depends. Or you don't need any direct industry experience, which I think is interesting. The other thing you have to understand, Michelle, that's happening, and like all of our experiences, you and I are to date are obviously rearview mirror. What's happening now, no one is ready for AI. No one. What's about to happen to everyone Okay. And I don't think people really understand the gravity of what is about to happen, not just the United States, but to the globe. You're talking about 350 million jobs minimum that will probably be eviscerated due to AI. I mean, call centers dead, automated script dead, cold calling dead, appointment setting dead. Like all these things that have routine repetition,
Right.
they're just dead. It's all going to be automated through technology. You could call major banks right now. You're talking to AI. I've had full blown
Okay.
conversations with people where I had to ask them, are you AI or are you a human being? Please hold for a human being.
Oh,
That's,
wow.
I thought I didn't know. I didn't know I had to ask. And it was like, do you
Yeah.
prefer? And I said, yeah, please put a live agent on the line. Weird. But that's what's coming. So you want to distance yourself from the disruption of AI, and it's coming, and it has its sights set for the first time on white collar workers, not blue. Blue is always getting kicked in the nuts, right? Going back to the late 1800s, they're always doing something to blue collar workers through automation. This time, it's going after CPAs, it's going after doctors, it's going after lawyers. I had AI give me a whole consult on a pathology report. It's
Wow.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
There are doctors now on social media saying, I've got clients coming to me with questions that they've never asked before, and the client is providing answers, the patient, to me, and alternative therapies that we're not even doing in modern medicine. Exactly. Jig is up.
Yeah.
It's up.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, you have to choose a road. You can go down the fear-mongering road or you can go down, the opposite. And I don't think we really have much choice. I mean, at this point, but to try to see how we can, use this for our own, help in many ways. But a friend of mine recently went to the doctor, had a scan, they couldn't read well. And the doctor actually said, I'm going to have AI take a look at this. And which was, just the weirdest sounding thing to me, but
That's
it's
right.
the way we're going. So, but to your point, I recently saw something, I was going to go there next, that was a franchise opportunity. And it was some kind of like an AI operated convenience store in what looked like a vending machine. You
Wow.
maybe, yeah, I don't
That's
know.
crazy you're bringing that up. I just interviewed him on my pod last week.
Oh,
That's
wow.
crazy. Where did you see that?
I don't remember. I get all these, Morning Brew and all of these little newsletters, and I'm thinking it must have shown up somewhere in
Yeah,
one of those. But it caught my attention because
it's very interesting.
it's
Very
very
interesting. So he was Healthy You Vending. That's who they were, this AI company. And then they changed the name because he doesn't want to be viewed as vending anymore because that's not vending. Vending is glass wall,
right.
put your money in, push a code, and a spiral will spit something out.
And hopefully it won't just hang there.
That's right. That's right. What he created is just call it a dozen cameras, sensors, technology, apps where you open the door of the cooler like you
Yeah.
would at home or like you would at 7-Eleven or Circle K, and you choose what you want. Things are going to come in and out. You're going to read the nutrition label. You're going to see too much sodium. You're going to put it back. They haven't charged you for that. This goes on, grabbing, pulling, reading, putting back. Whatever you took out, whatever you keep, and shut that door, it'll charge your credit card.
I
So he's
thought it
creating
was
more of
pretty cool. Yeah.
it's a virtual mart, right? It's smart mart. So it's a virtual AI driven market. And of course, they're aggregating tons of data. They know what universities like to eat and drink. They know what the hospitals want and when. He has all the data. Very interesting story. Not a low cost, not like vending where you're like, oh, could I do this for 5-10 grand? You're still into this for 6 figures, but it's a next level opportunity playing into the AI kind of theme and really the way the consumer wants to interact. The consumer wants to read the label. There was a time nobody cared.
Right.
Now everyone's like, "Whoa, my God, look at all the sugar, 40 grams of sugar," and they put it back.
Hmm.
So things have changed.
Yeah, I mean, that was fascinating. And so, what's next? I mean, you're right. We can't even begin to predict, but that
You,
was that.
you
That
just need to be the disruptor. That's the thing. Like you said about the doctor, like Cliff, do you think doctors will go away? A lot of them are going to go away. Well, what doctors will survive? The ones that embrace AI. the ones that embrace the very technology that's trying to replace them. So what entrepreneurs will survive? The entrepreneurs that embrace AI and like home inspection services. So I own a home. Let's just say I own a home inspection company, and now Tesla Optimus is now doing home inspection through self-driving cars and inspecting your home. I want to own the business. I will buy those bots and I will send them to the homeowner's home. So I want to be the disruptor in this next phase of AI life. Next will come quantum computing, and the game has changed forever. And that's where Goldman feels all these jobs are going to get lost. I want to be self-employed in the future, and I want to be the disruptor in the future, not disrupted.
Is that some of the conversation you're having with people?
Definitely. There's 5 areas we focus on. The first area we focus on, and we titled them, and let me explain the titling, because some people I don't get it. The first title is called The Feminization of Men, and it's not a political statement. It means that we have literally feminized men in America. What does that mean? It means that their sperm count is 50% lower than it was a decade ago. You had both sides of the aisle at the last election talking about IVF because our youth can't even have children anymore. So you have low sperm count. You have testosterone levels plummeting with men across the globe. It's not just America. It's everywhere. You have men who can no longer use tools. So we refer to the category as the feminization of men. Well, why is it a category? Because franchising can backfill. We have testosterone brands, right? We have every brand involving the use of tools. We have men's health brands, all of that stuff. So anything involving men and that theme, I'm all in, and it is AI resilient. Second category, the silver tsunami. Not only are we not having babies, but we're an aging population, which is why Elon keeps banging the drum to repopulate. You have to have a young, healthy society to care for your aging society. Look at Japan. It's an ancient society. They're not getting married. They're not having children. And the country is aging. And their economy is basically flat to negative. I mean, just look it up. It's crazy what's happening over there. The government is paying people to get married. They're paying you to have babies. They can't have enough and repopulate their great nation. So that's what we're dealing with here. So the silver tsunami, you have an aging U.S. population, anything involving home care, non-emergency medical transportation, building ramps for the elderly, grab bars, anti-slip, assisted living, selling, renting, repairing wheelchairs, mobility items, massive market. And now we're aging, we're not repopulating. So what did we do next? We humanized pets and animals. It's our third category, the humanization of pets and animals. They're not dogs, they're not cats, they're literally family members. I have a neighbor pointing out my window, pay $20,000 to do surgery on the dog that would not live more than 6 months after surgery, and they all knew it, but it's a family member, and you will spare no expense to protect and help preserve the life of a loving family member, and that's exactly what he did. 20 grand, had surgery, dog died in less than 6 months. We humanize them. It's a $160 billion market, pet care, whether you're grooming them, boarding them, daycaring them, playing with them, training them, stopping them from barking, selling them food, ton of money, ungodly amounts of money. Next category, public schools suck, period, total failure. None of these kids are ready for life. Anything involving youth enrichment, we're in. Huge category. And lastly, you can see the theme, we're aging with it. Anything anti-aging, anything biohacking, anything beauty, vanity, anything Botox, anything to make a person feel better about themselves, healthier, NACs, peptides, testosterone therapy. You can see how the loop gets closed on the 5. Those are the 5 that we focus on. You have the longest runway. You have the greatest resilience from AI threats. And again, those are businesses that you could become the disruptor, not the disrupted. And that's really where we focus with our clients is brick and mortar, non-brick and mortar in those 5 categories.
Wow, that's super interesting. Thank you for running through those. What about climate? Things like I just listened to something amazing on solar and how we could go
absolutely
crazy like Germany and Australia are, but we're not because we have too many regulations around things. But yeah, is that a category or no?
There are solar there are charging state. It is a very niche category.
Okay.
There's not a lot in it.
Okay.
But people, like look at Batteries Plus, Bolt, right? Batteries Plus was let's do all LED, let's get rid of incandescent, let's be energy efficient.
Mhm.
That business model has taken on a life of its own. We do have some solar brands, but it's not, at least not in my world. It's not as popular. The average investor for us is looking for something that we refer to as asymmetrical, low investment, high margin, very fast break even, requires as few employees as possible, and highly scalable, recession resilient,
Yeah.
so on. Right. So that's kind of what we look for, is making sure we're checking a lot of boxes for today's highly educated consumer. Think
Yeah.
about the technology the average person has at their fingertips between Grok, between, I think it's Genesis, between Chat GPT. Think about the technology and how quickly you could get up to speed and just say, best something to do.
Yeah.
Then we come in to true it up and make sure that it marries properly with the client.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and we're almost out of time, sadly, but tell me of a couple of things that make a good franchisee. You did before, but two things. One, investment wise, what's a minimum amount a person should expect to put in?
I tell people, don't even think about franchising if you're not willing to put up at least 100,000 of your own capital, non-borrowed. I put emphasis on that.
Okay.
So that's your liquidity. It's your skin in the game. In addition to that, you will need some debt, and the debt can range from another 50 to 100 and up. Right?
Okay.
But if you said to me, home care seems simple, caring for the elderly, you're talking 150,000 to buy a brand like that.
It's also not simple, that I know from knowing a lot of people who own, and maybe it isn't a franchise level. For people starting their own healthcare or home care businesses, it's finding the caretakers. That's the trick.
You're 100% right. What I meant by simple is no vehicles, no brick and mortar, no construction, no site selection.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna buy it and I'll start caring for the elderly. But you're right. The biggest issue with that business is staffing.
Yeah.
You're 100% right.
This is so interesting. I actually want to call you. I really want people listening to recognize the fact that if this is if any questions, thoughts, ideas, light bulbs are going off in your head right now, go to Frenosity.com and set something up with you, because you're really kind of energizing me about the opportunities and the, it's really a new day with opportunity.
Totally.
At the same time that a lot of other opportunities are going away. So it's a little bit of a lifeboat, in my opinion, if you have some. And speaking of having some cash, and I guess this will probably be the last question I can ask today, but what if somebody's thinking, well, my money's all in my IRAs or my 401k. Is it worth it to pull some of that out and do this?
Wow.
What would and that's a big question, but just off the top of your head, any thoughts?
So I'm a former investment banker, and I'm a huge fan of what's called an ROBS. No one ever asked that question, and no one actually knows that it's a viable tax strategy. So really quick, it's called an ROBS. It is not a self-directed IRA. It's a rollover as business startup. That's what it stands for. It was affectionately named by the IRS in a white paper. Stupid name, but they named it an ROBS, a ROBS. And it allows you to take money out of any qualified plan, 403B, 457, IRA, SEP, Simple, and so on. It allows you to take any money out of there, dollar for dollar. Here's the key. You avoid federal, state, and early withdrawal penalty when you do it. So don't let your broker tell you can't do it. This has been on the books, Michelle, since 1974. This tax strategy, this is not new. This has been around since 1974 under the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, ERISA, right? ERISA law. Everyone that's in a 401k. Here's the thing. If you currently work at a company, you can't use that money because you're gainfully employed with a company where your 401k is. So, well, then how do I do it? You have to leave that company or use an old 401k or an old IRA that you have at Fidelity or, Merrill Lynch or whatever. but you could use dollar for dollar. I want to repeat, it's a zero taxable event. If you have 100 grand in your IRA, you could move 100 grand dollar for dollar, avoid federal, state, and early withdrawal penalty, and invest in a business and still maintain tax deferred status. If you sell that business for, let's say, $200,000, remember you put up 100,
Right.
you sell for 200 grand goes back into the IRA tax deferred. So you still maintain, you're investing in you instead of investing in companies and mutual funds and stocks and bonds. You're investing in you now, and you're saying, I'm going to buy a franchise. But really quick, I know we're out of time, but I have to say this because I love the tax strategy. If I asked you right now, if you had 100 grand in your checking account, you're like, yep, I got 100 grand in my checking account. Okay. What's in your IRA? And you say to me, I have 100 grand right now in my IRA. I would look at you and say, you do not have 100 grand in your IRA. You say, yes, I do. Here's my statement. It says 100 grand. 70 cents on the dollar is yours. At maximum 70 cents on the dollar, depending on what state you live in, with a high state income tax on top of federal income tax. So I love the idea of buying businesses with the state and federal government's money to speculate, to accumulate wealth. If I lost 100 grand in my checking account, that is a hard dollar 100 gone. If I lose 100 grand out of my IRA, at best, it's 70 grand that I lost.
Yeah.
See the logic? And once your money's expanded by new ideas, it doesn't go back to its original shape. And that, you're all about money. Creating wealth is all about being tax efficient and understanding what money to use, what levers to use, what leverage to use. And a lot of people don't understand that. And that's why they need an advisor to say, why would you use 100 grand from your IRA, from your checking account? Oh, my husband and I are comfortable with it. Let me show you a tax strategy that'll blow your mind.
Love this. Really, really huge, important information. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
This was fascinating. I mean, I could talk to you all day, actually, and there's so much more. Tell us your podcast so people can listen to you.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's very different from yours, right? 'Cause you have your niche. So I don't feel we compete. I only interview founders of franchise brands, and it's called Pursuit of Profit.
Okay.
So Pursuit of Profit. And again, if you listen to our show, you're only listening to founders of franchise brands. And by the time you listen to 1, 2, 3, 4 episodes, you get an idea of the questions. Investment, right? How do you acquire customers?
Yeah.
Who are you disrupting, and so on. Like we just brought a woman on the other day that did self-tanning. They're killing it. They're absolutely killing it. Self-tanning, all vegan, all organic, all clean. There's always something cool coming on the show. And again, you're getting it straight from the founder. So it's a unique show, but it's a niche show. It's not as broad as, let's say, a show like yours. It's only for people that are really interested in franchising.
Oh, I love it. Okay. What's your favorite franchise? I won't.
That's a tough one. Let me leave it at Chick-fil-A because you can't buy it. Right.
Okay.
I'll leave it. I mean, there's 4,000 brands.
Yeah.
But if you said to me, what sector do I love the most? I'm in love with my category of 5.
Yeah.
But my love would be anything involving the use of tools. People don't understand the force multiplying effect of being in a business that requires tools in a culture that told for the last 2 decades, go to college, forget the trades. Yeah. There is an ungodly amount of money to be made in the trades. And they are AI resilient for now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I'll tell you mine. And I only know a few. Maybe I had 10 on the top of my head, but my favorite right now is the Now Massage.
Oh, wow. Love them. They're in California.
They're so great. Yeah.
No sheetrock canvas walls. I love the model.
Yeah, it's great. Well, wow, Cliff, thank you. I loved having you on the show. I actually love to have you back sometime, but I also would like to learn more from you about this. You really seem like you're pretty cutting edge on this whole franchise.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, reach out if you want to talk anytime. There's no obligation.
Fantastic.
I came on here just to be on the show, and I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, no, this is great. Really, really great. So thank you. And thank you, audience, for listening to the show. I hope you loved it as much as I did. And if you have some friends or family who need to hear this show, please forward it and share it and give us a like or a review on any of the podcast platforms or my Limit Free Life YouTube channel. And thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.